Welcome back, everybody. There is a very important fight that takes place every year within our schools, but it's apparent more now than ever because of people like our next guest. She has taken the blowhorn and has rightfully sounded the alarm on indoctrination of our children, and it's absolutely despicable what we continue to find out. Nicole Neily is the president of Parents Defending Education, and I want you to take a listen to her opening remarks in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee just the other day. We're going to have her join us on the other side of this. Take a look.
Far too many schools keep families at arm's length, which could not come at a worse time. Kids would benefit if the adults in their lives worked together in their best interest. But families are now considered adversaries, not even entitled to basic information about their children. In Wisconsin, one school district's teacher training session stated, parents are not entitled to know their kids' identities. That knowledge must be earned. My organization has documented over 1,000 districts across the country with parental exclusion policies, which state that families don't have a right to know their child's gender identity in a taxpayer-funded school. And finally, it is not evil to want to be involved in your child's education. Every time a parent is falsely accused of wanting to ban a book because of reasonable concerns about subject matter appropriateness, neighbors are pitted against each other based on dishonest premises. This is a deliberate attempt to demonize parents and to chill both their speech and activism.
Nicole, that was some absolutely incredible testimony, and you've shined so much light on the left's book ban narrative, so congratulations on that testimony. I think it was highly impactful. I wanted to ask you because, you hear teachers saying this, you hear employees of teachers' unions, you hear the political left talking about how parents don't have a right to know what their children are being taught, what's happening at school with their gender and all of that nonsense. And I have to think that for most parents, that can't be a winning message for the left, but have we moved so far in that direction that folks who typically vote Democrat are actually okay with leaving their kids' education up to other people?
No, they're not. And I think that's one of the things that we're trying to do is just shine a light, as you said, on what is actually taking place in school. Certainly, when you look at polling about banning books, a majority of Americans oppose it. But just saying that a book doesn't belong in an elementary school is not the same as burning a book in Berlin in 1933. And that's what we're seeing activists on the left, teachers unions, politicians really try and muddy the water intentionally to confuse parents, to lump them in. You don't want to be an evil person. There are bad people out there. And it's really trying to, again, chill, frighten, and demonize parents just for having the audacity to want to know what's going on in your child's education. We know it's not a partisan issue. Children do better when families are involved in their lives. You can supplement their education, you can ask questions, you know your child, but we are being held at arm's length and we're being told, you know what, we're with your kids 8 hours a day, so we know them better than you do. Why don't you sit down and keep your mouth shut? And that is where we're starting to see the left really realize their activists have gone way too far.
Nicole, by the way, a really impactful testimony. The figure that you gave everyone literally knocked me off my chair. There's more than 1,000 school districts that have some form of parents, you're not in charge of your policies. Tell us how that happened and where we are in the legal system in beginning to restore parental rights. I mean, the courts traditionally have been on the side of parents, but if 1,000 districts felt comfortable doing it, it's shocking.
And this is, we are still getting tips that are pouring in every day. We actually released this number initially in March, and we had identified about 200 districts. And so this number keeps growing across the country. And we're finding in some places, even in red states like Alaska, these policies are being pushed by state school board associations. Merrick Garland was on the Hill this week talking about the National School Board Association memo. These trade associations are not parents' friends, and we're really trying to remind families of that as well. So these are policies that are being pushed by activist groups like GLSEN, like the Trevor Project, that are saying that families are inherently not safe. They're not supportive. A parent saying, are you sure you're actually transgender? Or, you're really young. Do you really know what's going on? That's not considered, quote, conversion therapy, just to even ask questions, which is mind-boggling. And so certainly there are more districts around the country that have these. And so we urge all of your viewers, if they see or think that this might be taking place in their school, let us know. Our website is defendinged.org. We have a tip line. People can submit ideas anonymously, and we'll chase it down.
Yeah, amazing.
Nicole, you know, Andrew Breitbart famously said that politics is downstream from culture, but it's actually seeming like education is also downstream from culture, because another such organization that you were warning us about, I saw one called Banned Bookmobile, and it's backed by MoveOn.org, which is a George Soros funded outfit. But a lot of celebrities, Chelsea Handler, Rob Reiner, Ariana Grande, and they are pushing these books like All Boys Aren't Blue and Genderqueer, and it's actually it's like Reading Rainbow, but for kiddie porn, which is ironic because the former host of Reading Rainbow is a part of this initiative. And they compare this to you know, they say that we're banning books, that conservatives are in favor of that. But it's not like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn or To Kill a Mockingbird, where they said it was racist when in fact it was the opposite. This material is damaging to children.
Right. And to say that, you know, something should be in the Brooklyn Public Library system versus this should be assigned to my second grader, I mean, that's apples and oranges. They're trying to confuse us. And this is, again, part of their whole part and parcel strategy. This week is the American Library Association's, quote, banned book week. Let's look at some of the funders of the American Library Association. It's the Soros Foundation. It's Arabella Advisors. It's the Gates Foundation. These are activists, and these are the ones that are, you know, claiming that they have the right to adjudicate what a family does or does not want their child to read. I mean, you know, there are these allegations thrown at families all the time. You're trying to prevent other children from reading. No, we're just saying, I know my child and I know what is appropriate for my child, period. We're not trying to prevent other families from making those decisions. We just want to have some say and some input. But the teachers' unions really think they know better than we do how to raise our children. And that's why we're seeing so many families fight back.
Yeah, it is really remarkable what's going on. As you look across the country, there are all sorts of unique experiments going on to return sort of free market principles, even to education. What are the ones that get you most excited? I mean, there's portability of school money, taxpayer money going with the child. There are a lot of different things, like a new generation of school choice. What are the things that you think most restore parents' rights in this conversation?
Well, certainly just giving families the option to be able to, if their public school is not serving their needs, be it on the basis of safety, be it on the basis of quality, for families to be able to take a portion of their tax dollars that have been taken out of their pockets and to walk to a different school will give families more options. You know, not everyone has $25,000 or $30,000 per student per year that they can go and spend at a private school. But we're seeing things like micro schools that are also really exciting. Just the fact that some of these school choice programs are no longer means tested, right? It's not just for families in poverty, but just any family that says, this is not a good fit for me. To give them that choice, I think, is starting to unleash this tremendous, you know, the demand is increasing, but then there are new school models that are coming into the ecosystem. So be it a Jewish day school, be it a religious school, be it, I mean, we have even seen LGBT charter schools or things like that. If that's what a family feels is the best fit for their child, so be it. But right now, to trap children in failing government schools is appalling. And the fact that that's the side of history that the Democrat Party has chosen to throw its lot in with is, you know, that speaks volumes.
Nicole, Democrats love to bill themselves as champions of the oppressed and the little man. But with respect to this material, this type of education, the lack of portability of money, doesn't it affect poor incomes disproportionately?
Absolutely. Those are the children who are trapped in these failing schools, in these unsafe schools, and even, I mean, the ones who were stuck when schools were closed for far longer than they ever should have. There have been some teachers union advocates that have said, well, you know, the good thing about that is that everyone fell at the same rate. So everyone kind of, even though NAEP scores declined, you know, reading, writing, math proficiency, everyone fell back at the same rate. That's not true, because wealthy families were able to hire tutors, you know, supplement their children's education. But it's the family whose mom or dad works at Walmart or at McDonald's. They don't have the time or the energy or the extra resources to supplement their children's education. So these programs, these policies are hurting, as you said, disproportionately impacting disadvantaged families more than anybody else. They're not for the little people at all. They're for their money and their power. And children are just collateral damage in their struggle for that.
Yeah, and unfortunately that starts a vicious cycle, because those kids who are disadvantaged in the education sector, they grow up and the vicious cycle starts all over again. Nicole, we appreciate all the hard work you were doing. I encourage everyone to go find that testimony on YouTube. It was absolutely spectacular. Great work, Nicole. We're going to have you back on again very soon.
Thank you so much.